Sesh here.
You both, buddy, pal. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Hey guys, what's going on? Joe and Mike back again for NBA playoff review. They did us no favors last night. No teams closed out their series. We like when teams close out their series after about a week because it gets exhausting. NHL helped a little bit, but we'll get to that in a bit. But for the NBA, we still got as many series today as we did yesterday, and we can only hope that I am not saying the same thing tomorrow. So let's get into it with the Knicks and the Sixers game. It started at such a low scoring game, and still for an overtime game, I guess it was low scoring. The Knicks were held to 17 in the first quarter, and then they kind of combated the Sixers perfectly with that and held them to 17 in the next quarter. Um, they started the second 1 for 11 with three turnovers. 19-2 run for the Knicks, and then didn't they go on? No, they didn't. I'm thinking of another game. McBride has been quiet this series, and I think he only ended up having 14 points, but it always seemed like he was scoring when the team needed him to. So, um, good to see even more depth from the Sixers. Um, at the end of at the end of the third, it felt like no team could miss. That's when the score kind of started bumping up. Um, and then obviously, at the end of the game, the Knicks kind of ran away with it with a 6 point lead with 30 seconds to go. Maxey hits a three. It was a three and was it a 3-and-1? Yeah, I think he hit a 3-and-1.
Mhm.
Um, to cut the lead down to 2 points with what was I gonna say? With like 5 seconds later, so they still had 25 seconds to work with. Brunson, I'm pretty sure, misses a free throw. So then it's still back to a 3 point lead, one possession game where he could have made it a two possession game. And Maxey with a really long three sends it to overtime. The Knicks, I'm gonna keep going with the overtime, but I do want your answer on this. Did not call a timeout to advance the ball. They had two. They only have 5 seconds left, so I'd like to hear why you think they did that. But then overtime, it was pretty pretty back and forth until what happened? What happened there? Oh yeah, Brunson tied it with a minute left, and then after that, I don't even think they made a single shot, and the Sixers ran away with it. Insane game from Maxey. What I got here? 46 points, so 5, 9, and 4. Embiid triple double, 16, 10, 19. Tobias Harris finally did something. He had 19 points. He's been really quiet this series. On the other side of the ball, Brunson with 40, Hart with 18. Still quiet offensively from Hart compared to the first few games, and Anunoby 17. And like I said, McBride 14, but so fourth on the team, but still felt like he was just as important, if not maybe a little less than Brunson was this game. Um, but what I was gonna say, yeah, let's let's see what you have to say about it.
So to answer your question, so like there doesn't in basketball like it's kind of a 50-50 split on if you call that timeout or not because sometimes people like to just go with momentum or depending on who you are as a team, sometimes you already like you practice last second plays so much that you're just like, you know what, we don't want to stop this momentum, we just want to go. So that really wasn't like too surprising to me because I've seen that happen a lot, especially type of coach that he is. But my main takeaway from this man is really bad loss for the Knicks. Really, really, really bad loss because I mean you had him. You had him. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were up 4 or 6 with like 30 seconds left when I was watching in regulation. And I remember I thought I was like, wow, they got this. Like the Knicks are about to advance in 5. Then it goes into OT, and then OT was just like they just yeah, it was somewhat close at some points, but you kind of knew that the Sixers were taking it. Aside, kind of a side piece here. Not enough people are talking about Maxley's shot from the logo to tie it up. Like, not enough people are
Really?
talking about it. Dude, it is not being talked about for the most odd reason ever. That shot was insane. But before we get even deeper into that,
I
I just
guarantee if
think,
Embiid made a free throw from there.
oh yeah. Well, I just now, like, to be totally honest with you, I had Knicks in five, and I still think that the Knicks will win this series, but there's a very legitimate case now that the Sixers can win this series. They're going back to Philadelphia, right?
Yes.
Yes, it'll be game six. They'll be going back to Philadelphia. They could easily steal that one there, and then you got a game seven in the Garden. So, like, I don't know. I think the Knicks really shot themselves in the foot with this one. I know they're still up 3-2, but that was a really, really bad loss. And that right there is why I say people get really excited about this Knicks team. And I say that they have a ceiling and they could get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They can't get further than that because of reasons like last night. They couldn't close those games out. But those were a lot of the same games that we had trouble closing out years ago. When we were right there. So, like, yeah, just a bad loss. Bad loss.
I mean, the same could be said for the Sixers earlier in the series, especially with game two there. They couldn't close out that win. And remember that one? That was crazy.
Yeah.
From the Knicks, was it
But the
DiVincenzo who
Sixers
got that three?
but the Sixers too, they have a ceiling too. They haven't even been to an Eastern Conference Finals. So they
Percent.
also have a ceiling. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? Okay, I already said that. So a couple things. Maxey did get hurt at one point. He obviously came back, but that's something to note that the Knicks could end up taking advantage of. Obviously, we don't like injuries, but we got a hobbled Embiid. Now is Maxey hobbled? That could definitely help the Knicks. I think he's definitely gonna play, but is he 100%? I'm not sure. I mean, this far into the playoffs is probably about 50% of players aren't 100%. What?
What?
Did you say something? Wow, that was weird. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. What was I gonna say? I'm sure about at least like 50% of players aren't healthy. We're pretty deep into the first round at this point, and everyone's like, putting their all in, so everyone's probably getting hurt. But if it's lingering on Maxi, and obviously it's been lingering on Embiid, that's huge. What was I gonna say? Lowry, I think Lowry had 5 fouls in the third. Now, Lowry is one of, in my opinion, my most players I'm most disappointed in not really seeing much. Because if you remember last year with the Heat, and even a couple years ago with the Heat, Lowry was good with them. And I understand that he's like older now, but like he has become such like a non-factor, I feel, where it's like whenever like he does something of note, such as 5 fouls, the only reason I bring it up is because it's Lowry. Like he isn't doing anything. Like him fouling out in the first quarter isn't going to really do much.
Yeah.
But yeah, Knicks all around rough game, 27% from three. They did force some turnovers. Like there was one point where Embiid, like it was pretty late in the game. He was like dribbling it, and I don't know if he lost control of it or if he botched a pass directly to Anobi. It was pretty bad. They were able to capitalize on that one, so bad example, but there were plenty of points where the Knicks weren't able to capitalize, like such as making 2 free throws to make it a 2 possession game with 25 seconds. But I think a lot of this is on the Knicks, but obviously props to the Sixers for taking those missed opportunities from the Knicks and turning them into something. And that it's one of those things where um it happens a lot. You say, well, a team really beat themselves, but yeah, but how many times have you seen a team like beat themselves, but the other team doesn't take advantage, and the team that beats themselves still wins? It happens all the time. So I think props have to go to both teams here. Um, for I mean, obviously no, props have to go to the um the Sixers, even though the Knicks did kind of give them the win. Obviously the Sixers came up with some huge plays to make sure that they got that win. Let's see. And then we can move on to the um the Cavaliers game. So we started that game. No Jared Allen. He was a late addition to the injury report. Something I honestly don't remember and don't really care too much. But after this game, the home team is 5 for 5 in the series. I guess I sparked something in Darius Garland. I guess he watches our streams because last time our videos because last time I was talking about the Cavaliers, I'm like, dude, I thought this guy was supposed to be good. Um, he had like 13 or 15 or some points like that in the first half. Sorry, first quarter. 7 consecutive for both teams. No one was scoring other than him. Um, the Magic were just getting they were getting the turnovers, but again, unlike the Sixers, they weren't doing anything with it. At the end of the first, there was a great offensive rebound for I forget who it was, maybe Isaac or something, and then he passes it right out to Levert, who banks a three, and it was a funny ass sequence. Off the score sheet, Evan Mobley this game was unbelievably good. He had quite a few shot blocks, including one with like 3 seconds left that would have tied the game up for the Magic. Both of the ones I have in mind were on Franz Wagner, who they really focused on making sure that he was covered this game. I'm not sure why they continued to do so because Banchero ended up with 39. And the next highest was Wagner with the 14. So, I mean, they probably should have started focusing on Paulo, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, they did end up winning the game. Strus had 4 threes. Mitchell 23, I'm sorry, Mitchell 28, Garland 23, Mobley with 13 rebounds and 14 points. 5 Cavs turnovers in the first half. Wow, that was not that good. But you want to know what? They broke 100. The Magic got 102 and we're like, oh, so we're gonna win this game, huh? And didn't end up happening. The Cavs got 104. So congratulations. You did it. Raise the banner. But yep, the Cavs and Magic going back for game 6 in Orlando, and the Cavs will try to close it out there on the road, which is something that neither of these teams have been able to do. You're up.
Yeah, I mean, I think this series is kind of going exactly how I thought it would go. Um, I'll tell you what though, I didn't think that Bonchero would be playing this good, but I'm all here for it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think I'm starting to question because I did pick the Magic in this series, but I do think the Magic are in a difficult position here. Curious to see how this young squad is going to come out and fight, officially being like in an elimination game, you know. And I
How
also
how ex how experienced is Ingles? Is that his name? He's an old timer. How experienced is he in the playoffs?
he's not. I mean, he was never really a like a he was never really like a player that played. So like,
Gotcha.
you know what I mean? Like, but anyways, I will say too, I feel really bad for the people who are like, I see all like comp news, sports analysis, people making jokes about this series, like, oh, the Magic and Cavs series being watched by thousands of people, like, or like hundreds of people, and it's like, you know, like, yeah, like there's not a lot of big names in this series, but I like the fact that like we're getting to see like some people like, you know, like they're getting their first playoff moments in, and they're really kind of trying to like make their stake in this game, you know. So I'm pleasantly pleased with this series so far because I wasn't expecting much more. This is exactly what I was expecting. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I feel bad for the people who just aren't watching because it's not LeBron or Kevin Durant in the series. So like, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like, but I just I will say this, like, we could have 6 players injured on the Celtics, man. Whoever we play next round out of these two, we're walking to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm sorry, I'll say it. And I'm not one to be like that, but it's just it's not physically possible. And you need to stop because you're gonna annoy me now with how you're about to sound. But yeah,
I'm not
that's
saying anything because I know I can't convince you otherwise. I
because I'm
can't stop you.
watching. Because there's certain things that it's like, okay, yeah, there's like a percentage chance that this happens. There's not any inkling of a possibility that Orlando or Cleveland makes this next series against Boston a series. There's no inkling of a chance.
You literally said that they might give us a hard time, but we're definitely going to come out on top. You said that
I
yesterday.
said the Knicks. I said that about the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's what I said.
Ah, Jesus Christ. So the Magic, I understand it's different now, but who have had our number the past three, I'm not underestimating. I'm not going to make
Joe,
the
it's
mistake of
Joe.
underestimating any team.
Joe, it's the playoffs. These dudes aren't experienced. They're having trouble in these difficult situations against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are barely more experienced than them. That matters, bro. It's not a game in November. It's a completely different situation. That's telling
I
one
said
team
I
to
get
lose.
okay. I said I wasn't going to get into it though.
But you responded, so I responded back.
I know, I know. I'm blaming myself for once. Um, But yeah, no, back to what you were saying that I will agree with is I end up liking series like this where there's not too many big names because it's like all right, can we just shut the hell up about like the Lakers? Can we just stop talking about the Warriors? Let's focus on this game with new names, new people that we can focus on.
That's
Like
why
some
that's real quick. That's why I know we'll get into it, but that's why I told my brother yesterday we were talking about the Bucks Pacers series, and I was saying, yeah, like it really sucks that Giannis and Dame are injured, but it's kind of cool to see some of these guys like thrive in playoffs games that you never thought they would thrive in.
Exactly, and that's why Maxi going off is so nice is because like they're not having too much of a chance to talk about Embiid. I mean, I think I did say he got a triple double in game five, but and then obviously he had that one game where he went like 40 plus. But other than that, it's been
50.
Maxi's show, and
50.
I feel like people have been treating it that way,
Yeah,
which is really nice.
he had the one game he had 50 in, but yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, 50, not 40. But yeah, no, I hope this series ends up in seven because I think this would be a cool game seven to see. Also, let's exhaust the opponent for the Celtics, hopefully. But let's continue to the last game we're gonna discuss here, the Pacers and the Bucks. I don't really have too much, play by play for you. I mean, the Bucks really manhandled this one. Their defense was amazing. I feel like I'm not a big defense. Like people are like, oh, some people who like are really into a sport will try to prove so by saying, defensive games are so much better than offensive games, they're just. I think it's trying to be, different. But this game, Milwaukee's defense was very fun to watch. Beasley, Beverly, Bobby Portis Jr. had oh my God, he had a great game. Highly contested shots. I didn't know he had this in him. It makes you think if you didn't get ejected last game, would this be a tied series or would it be they had a lead? I don't know, but it might be different. Who knows?
No,
But yeah, I know. Down down the list, Halliburton had the team's best stats at every area other than rebounds, with 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 16 points. That's just not going to get it done. This whole team can be to blame for this. Neesmith had a really hard night or bad night, 3 for 9, and he was getting bitched around, whether it be blocks or steals. Siakam has been silent since game two. Remember when this was the Siakam versus Lillard series? I kind of missed that, to be honest. That was crazy, but I am glad these other guys are stepping up. Um, but let's see. For the Bucks, Middleton 12 rebounds, 29 points. Portis 10 rebounds, 29 points. Beverly 12 assists and 13 points. Beasley with 18 points. So 3 doubles for them. They were 52% from the field, 38% from the three, and the Pacers were 61% from the free throw line. All that adds up to is Pacers. This was a very disappointing effort, and if I was a Indiana fan, I would be really mad right now.
yeah, so where do I want to start with this? So I thought that for sure Indiana was closing it out last night. And at the start, when the game started, I had no reason to believe otherwise. I was like, okay, after the first quarter, I was like, even in like middle into like the second quarter. I was like,
I forgot they had a big run there. It was what, 7? So that's what I'm sorry. That's what I was talking about earlier when I said they had a big run, then the other team had a big run, but I was talking about the wrong game. Pacers had a 17-4 run, and then all Portis, he led them, well, not all, but like, 99% Portis, 18-2 run to take the lead.
thank you for taking my analysis. But anyways, so yeah, that's what happened. But yeah, so basically, I was watching the game and I was like, oh, like they're taking care of business. And then as the second quarter ended, I was like, okay, like Milwaukee went on a little run there at the end, but I still think they got it. Third quarter, I think the third quarter was the one that they really just freaking just blew the building. Like, so I want to be I want to try to be consistent here, right? Because I said that the Pacers would easily were going to take down Milwaukee and everything, right? And I know you look at a game like this, right, and you think, okay, like, am I changing my mind now? Like, am I like, okay, like Milwaukee could take this? Hell no. Bobby Portis Jr. ain't dropping 29 and 10 again next game. I can promise that. I could throw everything I love on it. Patrick Beverly is not having 13 and 12 ever. He might not score 13 points in total for the rest of his career. Like that, like that's how I'm being serious. Like that's not happening again. Like Chris Middleton,
I thought you were gonna go for rest of the playoffs.
Chris Middleton took a time machine back to 2 years ago or 3 years ago last night. Unless he could do that again, I don't know.
He did it 2 games ago as well, though.
I know, but my point is like I don't believe he can do it again. I just don't. I don't think he has that consistency in him. So now here's the only thing though. The Pacers, right? Like a lot of the things you said, like if they can't play, if they play this bad again, the Bucks don't even gotta like do all much. Like they could still win. And if the Pacers are going to score 90 points a game, the Bucks will win. But I don't expect the Pacers to be that bad. I don't not to mention too. You talk about the percentage of the free throws, the 61%. But the Pacers shot what 12, 13 free throws only too. Like that's very low. That's very low. So like that also adds into it too, where it's like there's a lot of I don't know. There's just a lot of underlying things that I don't think is going to happen again. And as long as Dame and Giannis are still out, I have no. This has not swayed me into believing that the Bucks will win next game.
And there goes Mike. Um,
You
you
froze.
glitched out at the very end there. You said, "Are you there?"
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. You said this does not sway me into thinking the Pacers will beat our Bucks will beat the Pacers next game. What'd you add after that?
that was it. I was just saying, or like the
Okay,
series, it
okay.
doesn't sway me into thinking that.
Yeah, I figured I wasn't missing anything, but yeah, I enjoyed seeing well, I feel like the Bucks have had more players with noteworthy nights than any other team. That I wouldn't say that means they have the best bench or the best depth or anything like that, but I I think this is an easy thing to say here is they've needed their depth more than any other team. Whether or not their depth is better than another team, they've needed it just because of the injuries and how many players are hobbled there. Patrick Beverly, who we haven't brought up much, he got 12 plus, I think, in the second quarter. And then he had a great steal on Portis to give them a 15-point lead in the third. And then obviously, um, it was Beasley hit 2 threes in a row to make it a 21-point lead, and that's kind of what took them off. So props to those guys for making making that lead pretty insurmountable for the Pacers, because I'm pretty sure that was the point where it was like, I know it's still only the third, but Pacers, you ain't coming back from this. The way you guys have looked tonight, like Halliburton gave me hope in the beginning. He hit 2 threes within like the first 5 minutes of the game, and then just kind of powered down for the most part. Like I said, he still did end up having 16, which is fine, I guess. But like when that's the best your team did, and 6 of those points came in the first 5 minutes, meaning that in the other 43 minutes of the game, you had 10 points. That's unacceptable. It's hard. It's hard to close out a series because the other team is playing for their lives, and you have such a pretty little cushion you're sitting on because you're so far ahead that they're going to be playing with so much more effort than you, and it's hard. You can't match that effort, even if, like, you're not sitting on a cushion and you're, all right, I got to get my head in the game. These guys are good. They can come back from down 3-1. That's still nothing compared to if we lose, we're done. So I think closing out series is a lot harder than folks make it seem. And that was proven tonight. Both teams refused to go away. And those two teams are teams that have a lot of playoff experience, whether it be only to the second round or or going to the finals in the Eastern Conference Finals. So yeah. Unless you have anything else to add, that is, I think, all. We have two
Got,
games.
oh
You got
yeah,
something?
I was about to give a quick prediction on both games tonight, like who I think's gonna win.
Okay, yeah. I was just gonna say we got two games tonight. It's the Celtics and what, the Mavericks game, I think, right? Um, so yeah, Celtics just need to. Are we home?
What
We're
is
home,
this?
right?
Game 5?
I think it's five. I think it's
Yeah,
five. So
we're
we're
home.
home.
We're home.
Um, we just got to be prepared. This is how I approach every elimination game. We've had a lot of them the past couple days because no one seems to want to tie a series 2-2. The team that's down 3-1 is going to come out swinging. They're going to come out with that passion, and at the end of the game, they're going to close out with that passion because they could know that this might be the end. So what you got to do is withstand that early storm, and then maybe a little lull in the middle of the game in the second or the third, and that's when the Celtics need to play their best basketball. That's when they need to stop playing conservatively and start going on the offense and make an insurmountable lead that they can't really capitalize in the fourth.
The
You're up.
reason I'm not really worried about the Celtics with that is because, I really think that they want to stick it to Miami after last year. Like I think they have motivation to beat them in 5 versus like 6 or 7. Like I think they want to try to humiliate them as much as they possibly can after last year. So I think that the Celtics, I don't see a scenario tonight where the Celtics come out like a little lackadaisical. Like I think the Heat are going to come out swinging, but I think the Celtics are going to be like, you know, eager to try to send them home in 5. So that's
Hmm.
my.
Did you want to do the other one?
Yeah, I mean, Mavericks Clippers has been an incredible series. I think the Mavericks are going to win tonight. I know that there's been a whole, debate about Kawhi, like what's, I don't think he's playing. And I think a lot of people think that that's probably for the best. I don't know. I just really, I really, every year I do this in the playoffs where I just shake my head at like, damn, Kawhi, if you were just healthy, and God, like how
Yeah.
many more rings would you have? You only you have 2, but God, you'd have more. You would 100% have more. But it's neither here nor there. I expect the Mavs to come out strong. Kyrie's going to do what he does. I feel like Luka's been getting a little bit disrespected this series, and I think that changes tonight. I think because Luka is historically a very, very good playoff player.
Mhm.
He does not back down in these moments, and this game is crucial tonight to see who's going to go up 3-2. And I think the Mavs take care of business. And I think we get a classic playoff Harden game tonight, like a 5-point stinker, or something like that. So
Talk about classic playoff Harden is a 5-point stinker. But that is all. We or I or someone will be back tomorrow for the actual review of those couple games. It's nice to cut it down. Let's just hope we cut it down a little bit more tomorrow. So like, comment, and subscribe, and see you in the next one.